In this video, I'm going to be covering the 10 creepiest places in Game of Thrones that got left out of the show. Starting us off, we have Asshai. Asshai by the Shadow is one of the most mysterious and eerie places in the world of Game of Thrones. The city is at the easternmost and southernmost point on the map of the known world and is bigger than King's Landing, Old Town Volantis, and Karth put together. The city, despite being huge, is sparsely populated and there are no children in Asshai, and people walk around wearing veils, shielding their faces from others. The city is also made entirely from a greasy black stone with unknown origin, giving the city a dark atmosphere. It is said that magic is very powerful in Asshai. Next, we have the Isle of Faces. We don't really know what the deal is with the werewoods. We know that they act like with the information bank, allowing the children of the forest and the three-eyed ravens to access its knowledge, but aside from this, we know nothing of where they came from or what their goal is. What is clear, though, is that the werewoods have a history of blood magic. People used to sacrifice humans to the werewoods, and Brynden Bloodraven rivers seem to be being consumed by the tree in his cave. The area with the most werewoods is known as the Isle of Faces and is a holy place in Westeros. Next, we have the Heart of Winter. This is maybe a controversial pick, but the Night King turned one of Craster's sons into a White Walker is where this is. Although this has only been claimed to be in the lands of Always Winter. The Heart of Winter is said to be the home of the Others and has only been seen in Bran Stark's fever dream in A Game of Thrones. While the area wasn't seen in the show, George R. Martin has hinted that his books may visit the location. Next, we have Montares. Montares is a city in Essos that used to be part of the Valyrian Freehold and is the central surviving city in the lands of the Long Summer. While the city was fortunate to survive the Doom, the city gained a reputation for its monstrous and deformed inhabitants. Some believe that the doom of Valyria caused the Montares inhabitants to become deformed in a similar manner to how radiation affects people. Next, we have Skagos. If you hear that there are unicorns on Skagos, you may be forgiven for believing the island is some kind of paradise. However, you could not be more wrong. While there may be unicorns on the northern island, there is little else to make the island a holiday destination. Theoretically, Skagos is part of the north. The area and the people are despised by those on the mainland. It is rumored that the Skagosi practice cannibalism in the winter, lure ships to their shores so they may murder the sailors and sacrifice the humans to the werewoods. Next, we have Yin. Yin is a ruined and mysterious city with unknown origins on the continent of Sathorios. The continent itself is unnerving and monstrous, as it is home to wyverns, bloodflies, and the brindled men. However, Yin is terrifying for a different reason. The city, despite being in the middle of the jungle, isn't entirely overgrown with jungle vines. Areas of the city are constructed out of a mysterious, greasy black stone that even the jungle refuses to touch. Perhaps the scariest tale from this eerie city comes from Princess Nymeria. The Rhoynar princess attempted to settle a group of Rhoynar in the city, but every man, woman, and child vanished overnight. Cannibal Bay. The Shivering Sea is one of the most unnerving locations in Game of Thrones. There are reports of ice dragons flying over the sea, as well as leviathans and krakens. However, one location in the far north of the sea that may be scarier than those beasts is Cannibal Bay. The bay is an area in the far north that, due to its sub-zero weather conditions, traps ships. There are legends that 1,000 ships remain in Cannibal Bay, crewed by the offspring of those who sailed in originally. The bay is so named because the residents of the bay are said to eat one another to survive. Next, we have Nefer. Nefer is a port city in the far east of Essos, located just south of the Thousand Islands. Nefer is known as the secret city due to the fact that 9/10 of Nefer is said to be underground, which is why the city only appears to be a small town to those traveling past it by sea. In addition to its secrecy, the city is said to be home to a myriad of necromancers and torturers. Further, the Thousand Islands that lie above the city are also said to be home to a race of green skinned people that worship fishy gods and sacrifice the travelers to their gods. Five Forts. The Five Forts of Yiti is one of the most mysterious places in all of Essos. It is said that the Five Forts guard the continent against the demons of the freezing desert beyond the forts. Perhaps the Five Forts, like the Wall, are intended to keep the White Walkers out of Essos, much like the Wall keeps them out of Westeros. Either way, it doesn't matter if the demons of the freezing desert are White Walkers or not, they must be terrifying creatures to require such a structure to keep them out. Stygai, the Heart of Darkness. Stygai, otherwise known as the City of the Night, is a city in the Shadowlands of Essos. While Shadowbinders may venture into Ashai, they do not go near Stygai. The city is said to be haunted with demons and dragons calling the city their home. Due to the fact that that no one wishes to visit this cursed place, not much is really known about Stygai. Some refer to it as the Heart of Darkness, and this raises interesting parallels with the Heart of Winter that I mentioned earlier in the video. Perhaps the two are linked in some way, as the Wall and the Five Forts appear to be. So there you have it. Those are 10 of some of the creepiest places in Westeros and Game of Thrones and Essos, all of George R. R. Martin's world that were not really shown in Game of Thrones. What do you think is the creepiest place? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.